You can call me Nordist, and I'm here trying to make my own creature collector based off of science topics. I'm gonna remove bug type. No! Currently, I'm not planning on having a type like this. In Pokemon's first generation, Ghost was, in a way, kinda like the Dragon type. A special rare type only sported by a single line. Except, while the Dragon type was kept more or less a secret from you, until the final Elite Four, Ghost played more of a narrative role, as there is a whole town and chapter of the game that focuses on encountering and talking to spirits. This is also the only place you can encounter the Ghastly line, the only Ghost types of the game. But what's so special about this line? Why not just hit them like any other mon? Normal and fighting moves do 0 damage. Ghosts don't just take less damage, they're completely immune. Type immunities have expanded the depth of Pokemon battles. Immunities mean that new mons can be switched in mid-battle with little to no downsides if you're expected to be hit with a certain move. And on the flip side, if you're designing a competitive set, you might consider having some coverage moves in case someone is immune to the types you're running. So being immune to 2 whole types must make Ghosts pretty strong, right? Are they too strong? Especially in Generation 1, the only weaknesses that Ghosts have are themselves, like the Dragon type. So, on paper, Ghosts might even be stronger than Dragons. But what's that? Normal and Psychic types are immune to Ghosts? They will completely flip over this Psychic interaction in future games, but Normal type continues to be immune to Ghosts. The 2 sides of the same coin, the living and unliving. Kind of like how fans theorized that Gengar was supposed to be the antithesis of Clefairy, who was primed to be the mascot of the franchise before being taken over by Pikachu. Okay, big deal. Ghosts can't hit 2 types in Gen 1. Aren't Ghosts still defensively pretty overpowered, like how Dragons had all those resistances? True, but who in Generation 1 had this type matchup? Who was just Ghost type? Ghastly, Haunter, and Gengar, they're all Ghost and Poison type, having a more balanced matchup. By the time pure Ghost types existed in Pokemon, the Dark type would keep Ghost in check. The Ghost type would continue to grow to represent not only the undead, but also how different cultures treated the subject, or even some extinct species. Now, for my project, I'm currently planning to have a Phasma type. Into Gelero, the Aero Phasma type. They're just the source of heat that's weirdly hard to touch. Now I don't have the Dragon type in my own game, as I'm distancing my personal project from Pokemon. My project has no equivalent to Pokemon's Dragon type, but contrary to what some comments say, it's not because I find dragons unscientific or anything. I said this in the video. Currently, I'm not planning on having a type like this in my region. Again, Dragon type itself is very much exclusive to Pokemon, but I don't really plan on also having a superior type like this. I just didn't want a type that was outright better than the others, only balanced by how few of them exist, but then later needing a further nerf with a new type that completely negates it. Also, Pokemon's Dragon and Bug types felt very custom to that franchise. They feel less like an elemental power, at least they're not often called elements in other franchises. But Ghosts, the undead, spirits, they've been used as elements before, and I really like the immunity interactions they could provide. So for now, my Phasma type represents the intangible, mysteries beyond life, and the unknown, which rack the Neurotype's mind. But they don't bother the Null-typed everyday mon. Regular slaps and strong punches won't work on them, but Neura's coordinated research can uncover the mysteries. My type chart would have to be playtested in the future, these are just my early notes. Despite my creatures being stem-based, There's a reason why I don't want to type my creatures based off of just their field. I want the concepts themselves to dictate the interactions in the game, rather than having the entirety of physics be weak to the entirety of biology or something. And yes, even the aforementioned neurotype isn't all about neurology, but also the theoretical, active studying, dreaming, etc. etc. But enough talk. Allow me to finally show you a Phasma and Null type mon of mine.
A house known as the Haunted Mansion. Happy haunts.
The Pepper's Ghost is a visual illusion responsible for some quote-unquote hologram performances, where there is a reflective yet transparent surface that presents the reflection on top of a 3D background. Pepper's Ghost has been around since the 1860s, but aren't considered to be a true hologram, though it is widely used in many attractions. So Mirpur is a singing note in the wind, with a vague pepper shape rising from the reflective panels around them. In science terms, we're looking for a 3D image made out of light. That's why the Pepper's Ghost isn't really called a hologram, because the image is still flat. But many real holograms work by having a photographic plate. To prepare the plate, a laser is split into two beams. One reflects off the object of interest to the plate, and the other is directly shined onto the plate. The plate records the interference of the cross beams, so that when the same laser is shined onto the plate can recreate an image of that 3D object, complete with parallax. But what about the sci-fi trope where the 3D image floats in midair? There have been several ways people tried to do so, like the Interact Lab at the University of Sussex, using sound to change a beat's position under a strobe light, where the beat is moving so fast that it looks like a solid 3D object. And apparently there's a startup called the Lightfield Lab who claims to have a true hologram with their face guide TM that uses polymer layers to focus the light right before your eyes, and somehow those polymers can create an animation? I personally don't know how convincing their displays are, as I haven't seen them firsthand. It almost sounds too good to be true. But here is